Hello, in this video I want to speak about extremely important strategical topic, pawn majority on this side. I will show you two great games of two world chess champions and you will learn how to play with majority and how to play against the pawn majority. Stay here if you want to improve your positional chess skills. My name is Pawn Majorities and welcome you to my YouTube channel and let's start together. This game, Capablanca played as black versus Frank Marshall. So in this situation, we has a clear majority for black on the queen side, 3 pawns versus 2. Besides, white has a majority on the king side. And on this position, white played rook c3, which is already a significant mistake. Logical was to try to play with their own majority, like push the queen somewhere, then e4, f4, something like that. Because if you have a majority, it's better to use it because it's your potential passing pawn. And black would show a perfect way how to use the majority in this game. So black played immediately a b5 move in this position. And now we see why the rook c3 is the mistake. The rook just appeared on the way of the black pawns, and potentially after some b4 it would be just attacked. So this rook helps black to perform their plan. Let's see how it was after. a3 white played, c4. So now we are moving our candidate pawn, the candidate to be the passer, and we want to supply it with a5 and b4, which gives black a lasting advantage in this position. So white tried to play bishop f3. And here another important move by José Raúl. He played rook fd8. That's very important in the whole majority story, who is controlling the only one open file, because it's almost all the time only one open file. Here is the d1, and black needs to take control of this. That basically highlights their advantage. So remember the strategical rule. If you have a majority or if you're playing against the majority, important note is who are controlling the line. So rook d1, but now we can take and play rook d8. So another rook is coming to the line d. Bishop goes to f3, and now we see our advantage. We have promoted passers, so potential passers, right? We are extending our space advantage on the queen side, and now our rook is operating on the d file. Besides, the rook on c3 is still quite passive and in an awkward position. Here Capablanca played g6, which is very logical again. He just wants to make a window to the king just to be sure. And as well he wants to start aggressive operations with bishop goes to f5 threatening the queen. That's why white tried to play queen c6. And Capablanca said probably that I'm ready to trade, but on my conditions and terms. So queen goes to e5 now. And after queen e4, now it's a better case to trade, because after takes, we don't have a hanging pawn on the b5. Rook d1, the invasion just started, king goes to g2 and a5. And even here, we have material is equal, right? So still this position is really absolutely winning for black. We're just pushing up our pawns to create a passer, and that's how we will use our majority to win that game. And especially our rook is so aggressive on this d line, already invaded into the white's position. So after rook c2, trying to stop rook d2 from black, just b4, following up our plans. Takes, bishop goes to f3. White's counted that maybe, probably, black has no good squares on the d line, but we can replace our rook to another active position, because now the b2 pawn is attacked. So the rook on c2 should stay to protect it. Bishop goes to e2, and here for the moment it could appear like, oh, white is ready to take on c4, it's a danger for us, but no. If you did everything properly from the strategic side, you would be always great with the tactics, because tactics serves to the strategy. And b3 now. Looks like not logical, because we better need to push c-pawn, but here is just a small tactics. After rook d2, which is the only one, rook goes to c1. Black just want to play rook c2 and force the rook straight, after which they are winning, or to take the pawn on b2. So that would be winning. White tried to play bishop d1, but now tactics in the chat. c3, b takes c3 the only, and b2. And white rook is overloaded. So the rook needs to take the pawn. Other way I will play b1 queen, but after rook b2, rook d1, definitely this position is winning. So Capablanca used his majority in a very cute way. He just pushed up his pawns, he won the battle for the only one open file, and that was the whole story, and he won the game. And we are going to the next example of Alexander Alekhine, the world chess champion number 4. Here it is. Alekhine played as black versus Frederick Yates. And how to play in this position is a cool question. By the way, if you want to test yourself a bit, you can press pause and find it by your own. Because here, Alekhine used a rule that we already speak about. He played rook d8 in this position. Again, white has the majority, black has the majority. It looks like white majority should be more dangerous because it's on the queen side, so far away from the kings, and it will be harder for black to stop a potential passer because the king is not on the queen side. But the meaning of the open line, open file is very important here, and black's having an advantage. So even white here played g3, trying to stop the f4 and e3 potentially, still black started their aggressive gameplay. So king goes to f7. Another important endgame moment. We always need to have a king centralized in the endgame. It's a typical strategy. So Alekhine's pathway is just to bring the king out to e5 to support his pose, and then g5, f4, e3 at some moment. Let's see how he performed this in that game. After c5, king f6, bishop goes to c4. And here Alekhine made a nice point. He didn't exchange the bishop. He played bishop to c8 in this position. We will see how deep his assessment was here, because the bishop on c8, he controls the promotion potential, promotion square of white's c pawn, and as well could be good in supporting our pawns in f4, e3 lines. I will show you later how it would be helpful. So a4, g5. For sure, white, they were able to play better in this position. So maybe b5 needed to be played more fast, but still. b5, f4, king f1. Now the king is going to e1 to limit the black rook operations, and that's why it's a time to invasion. Rook goes to d2 in this position. Now our rook is very aggressive because after king e1, he played rook b2. He's attacking the pawns from the side, I mean the white pawns, and as well he supports their own pawns because the f2 and h2 are under attack potential, and the white king is limited. So again, having such an aggressive and active rook in the endgame is very important. So g takes, bishop e2, king f5, everything is on the pathway, c6. B takes c6. And here, for some reason, his opponent didn't decide to take with the pawn on c6, which I believe maybe was better. I think that he was afraid of something like f3, bishop d1 and e3. Reminds the idea from the previous game of Capablanca. The point now that white can't take on e3. Takes, f2, king f1, and that's the aim for our bishop. Bishop h3 checkmate. That's why we saved him, right? So in that position, white decided to take on c6 with the rook, which after bishop e6, because we need to save the bishop, still gives black a big edge because their pawn chain is ready to be promoted. Besides, the white pawns on the queen side are not so active. So after bishop d1, he played rook b1, having an idea to play bishop b3 in the variations. Check, king d4, rook c2 and e3 now. The work is done. The pawn is coming so close. So takes. Rook goes to c6 was in the game, but after bishop g4, rook d6, king d6, white resigned because my next move is e2 after the rook will go somewhere. So Alekhine played against the majority, dangerous majority of the queen side, how it was in the game of Capablanca. But he was successful because he fought for the line, he improved his king in the endgame, and basically all his pieces had a harmony between each other, and he pushed up his own majority, what Marshall didn't do in the game that we used to see at the first. I hope that this lesson was helpful for you, that you enjoyed watching this. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, press like, and I want to see your opinion in the comments. See you on my new videos.